day 23, and today I wanted to mention the fact that it is really interesting for me that when I announced that I wanted to commit to this 100 days of video, my body, not only my body, my mind, was a little bit hesitant because it's a big commitment, and I know that there are days when I really don't feel like being visible. And the reason why we don't feel like being visible is because sometimes, I especially lately, I take a lot of time to process certain things, and sometimes I don't even feel like dressing, or I'm crying, or it's not a very for public consumption look. And at the same time, a lot of what I am interested in doing is in my work is to collapse the difference between private and public. And it kind of, I guess, follows from a little bit of what I talked about yesterday, where so many people on Instagram or in social media, we use filters, or we dress up, or maybe we put makeup and all that stuff. And I just always knew that I wasn't going to do that, because what I'm trying to do is something very, very different. And also, as I've mentioned many times in my writing and in my videos, I come from a family where there were a lot of secrets. And it's not to blame my parents particularly, they were just following the dynamic that was handed to them. And, we all have gone through sayings like, don't air dirty laundry in public, and don't, stuff like that some things we just don't talk about. And what I found in my journey is that it's these things that we don't talk about that actually are what we really, really must talk about. Because anytime we try to hide anything, we shut ourselves down, and we repress parts of ourselves, and we make them abnormal. We exclude them sort of from part of this experience, this human experience. So I'm very, very interested to talk about things that are considered taboo, to talk about things that are sometimes difficult, that may upset other people, because I think so much of our suffering and so much of our struggles and so much of our trauma is because we've disowned significant parts of who we are, and have pretended to live life as a sliver of who we really are. So what was interesting, the reason why I'm saying all that, is that my body, though, and my psyche must have rebelled, because in the last week I had so many things happen to my face. First of all, I had a bit of a rash on one of my eyes, and it jumped onto the other eye. And I had, blisters on my lips, because, sometimes that happens when there's a contrast between air conditioning and very hot air outside. And it was just all happening on my face, in that first week or two of my commitment. And it's interesting for me to talk about the fact that so much of our manifestation, physical manifestation, all the things that are happening in our body are not by accident. Our body has adapted from childhood to protect us. So somehow my body was maybe revolting, my face maybe was revolting to being so visible all the time, especially that, I'm going through a relatively difficult time in my inner being. And it kind of caught me off guard, because I thought that I was done with more significant and more painful moments in my life. And in the last month or two, my inner child has really been acting up. And a lot of survival fears have resurfaced for me and everything like that. So it was really funny when my face just stopped cooperating and started breaking out and all this stuff. And it seems to be doing a little bit better now. But it's just funny for me to notice. I wanted to make a point not to put any makeup on or anything like that, to try to cover it up, because I think it's just important to, to talk about these things, and it's important to make invisible visible and to talk about things that are difficult to talk about. So, when we use filters, a lot of young women who use it, or maybe older women, it doesn't matter the age, but a lot of women who use it, they say, well, it's fun. Probably it's fun, but I just feel like anytime we can hide behind something, we are pushing our inner child away, and we're hiding it, and we send messages to our body that there is something that we find unsuitable or unpalatable or not for public consumption, and what does it mean, right? Not for public consumption. Because we come from a world where any flaw and blemish, I've mixed those together. Any flaw, any blemish, any flemish is, it's a problem. Like, we're embarrassed, right? There's so much expectation of perfection that anything that's not perfect, we're embarrassed about it, and we want to hide, and we feel ashamed. And I just think that it's such an unhealthy environment, and I think that women particularly spend so much time dealing with that, accepting our imperfections, accepting our bodies just the way they are, even if they don't satisfy a particular standard that's in fashion about women's bodies now. And I actually spent so much of my life not appreciating the body that I have, not appreciating how healthy and wonderful it's been, and how it served me so well. And I was, like many women, had focused on the things that were Flemish-like, right? Not perfect, not like up to standard. The boobs are too small, and the hips are too wide, and all that stuff. And it's just so many messages that we send to our bodies about not being good enough. Every time I cover something up, it's me sending my body a message that it's not, I'm afraid, I'm ashamed of it, and I am, trying to hide something about myself. So my whole journey, and especially becoming visible, like going on video, was a huge big deal, because even when I started writing about vulnerable things and about my feelings, I was still kind of hiding behind the words. And ever since I got myself on camera, it was a completely different layer of cover-up that needed to be removed. And my whole voyage in these last several years was really that kind of rehabilitation of my relationship with myself, and to just be kind and accepting of it. Just be kind and accepting. Trying to focus not so much on all the things that could be different, but on all the things that are wonderful already. And it's that ability to notice what is good and being grateful for it, rather than focusing on what could be better, or what could be different, or what I wish that I could change. And I spent majority of my life, dreaming of a body that was different, looking at other women and wanting to, breasts of one and legs of the other, and maybe, the thinness of bones, or different hair, or different color eyes, or something. I mean, my God, it's just so sad, because what's happening is that we are objectifying ourselves. We've so absorbed the messages from outside that we are now that dehumanizer. We are now the one who objectifies our own bodies, and the relationship with our bodies is so violent and so unaccepting and so shaming, that our body then acts up in various ways. So it was, it was interesting for me to observe how my face was just freaking out because I was so visible. And I think that maybe because I didn't shy away, I didn't sort of go and hide into a corner being ashamed of my face, that I continued showing up, and now it seems to be doing a little bit better. The pressure is off. But I just wanted to sort of bring that up today because I've been thinking about it, and I thought it's a nice thing to talk about in my diary, in my visual diary. And it will be, as always, I would be very interested to know whether anyone can resonate with that. Let me know your stories and your experiences with your body and face and all that stuff and being visible. All right, everyone, see you tomorrow.